G'day, I'm Yvonne from Pree Designs Papercrafting. We are already in week 3 of August, so today's card is card number 3 of my One Bundle 4 Ways series of videos, and we'll be using the Rolling Waves bundle. Hope you enjoy. The Rolling Waves bundle isn't actually in one of our printed catalogues. It's in our online exclusives from March. So it comes as a bundle, or you can buy the items separately. I'll put a link to all the products that I use in today's card in the description at the bottom of the video. To show you the products in almost in real life, I like to do up my folder so that I can see the dies that are in each of the die sets and also which of the dies match the stamps. And then of course we have the stamp set that coordinates. So it's a great stamp set. If you don't already own this, I hope that this series of videos inspires you to place an order for it. It's absolutely gorgeous bundle of products. So starting with card number 1, this was week 1. Using the clear Versamark to give a water effect. Card number 2, or week 2, was the alcohol blends technique. And then today's card I'll be showing you is card number 3, and here I've got using the blending brushes on an embossed image to bring up a little bit of the colour and a little bit of the intricacy of the embossing folder. So let's get started and make today's card number 3. Our card base for today's card is an A5 piece of cardstock, which is half an A4 and just scored and folded in half. Then the top mat is going to be, again, white, so it's a white on white card, and it is 14.3 by 10 centimetres. I'm going to bring in my Stylish Shapes dies, and I'm going to cut a circle out of the mat. I'm going to take the second largest size. I want to keep that one for the border that I'm going to put on, and I'm simply going to cut a circle a little bit above the halfway mark, so it's more in the top 2/3 of the card. All right, so that's my circle cut out of my top card mat, and then I want to put so that's going to go in there. I want to put my bottom mat underneath. I'm just going to put it roughly measured around where the mat is going to go. So the under mat is smaller than the top mat so that it makes it easy to put in place so you can't see it when we finish the card. I need to draw a pencil line so I know where to do my stamping. I'll rub that out later. Then I'm going to do some stamping. So my vision for this card is it's like a porthole or a window looking out to the ocean. Right, so I've got my area where I need to do my decorating. I'm bringing in the stamp set, and so that one little one's come off. I just want to use this stamp here, which is this one here. I'm sorry, you've got reflection on there, to give it like the sand effect. Now it's going to stamp way over my circle, but that's okay because this mat you're only actually going to see the open circle. So I just want to stamp some bits there that resemble the sand on the shoreline. I think that's enough. And then I'm going to bring in some of the beautiful papers from the Waterside Retreat Designer Series paper, which is this one here. And I'm going to use this side of the fish paper so that I get the idea of the waves. So I'm going to go away and I'm going to die cut both of these dies. Right, so I've got my 2 die cut pieces there and there. And then I'm also going to do a little die cut of vellum because I want to pop that underneath the blue wave Designer Series paper. Right, so I've got my vellum die cut, and now it's time to layer all these pieces in. I'm going to use my mini dimensionals, and I'm just going to place all these in where I want them, and then just put my window back in just to make sure that I'm happy with it and I don't want to change anything. So no, I'm pretty happy with that. It's got the sand at the bottom, and then it's got like the water of the vellum piece, and then the waves with the blue pieces. So I'll put all of those into play. Now I'm using mini dimensional. I'm just going to place that over the top. Now you'll see that this die actually matches this one here. And then for this little piece, I'm going to tuck that underneath there. So I'm just going to put some glue along the top edge. And this doesn't have to match, so I'm not going to use this whole piece of vellum. I'm just going to tuck that under there. So I'm just going to trim off the excess that I don't need. And tuck this right in, if I can, if it wants to go in there, underneath. It's getting stuck by one of my little dimensionals, so I'm just going to lift that up and tuck that in a little bit more. Okay, and then I'm just using my Take My Pick tool just to push that into place. So you're really only going to see a very small part of that. Then just snip off the excess. And now I'm just going to erase the top part of that circle. Again, you won't see that because I'm going to have some nice embellishments on there. So that's it there, and that just gives me guides as to where this is going to go. So then I'm actually now, because I want to put my mat in play, I'm going to put my dimensionals, sorry, my top mat, putting my dimensionals on the bottom or the underneath mat. Now I want to have a little bit of detail on my top mat. So I'm actually going to emboss this piece, but I just remembered because I can just see I've got a little pencil mark there, so erase that. I think I'll emboss this with the lovely stripes embossing folder because that will give me my nice stripes across the page. Or do I want to go, actually I think I'm going to go that way. That sort of gives more of a timber style look if I go this way. All right, so that is now embossed with the lovely stripes. And to give it a little bit more interest, I'm going to brush across the top of it with the basic beige ink using a blending brush because I just want to take off a little bit of the starkness. So the blending brushes are great. I always start off the page and then just go on the page at the side because as soon as that brush hits the paper, it will soak up the ink. So I don't want any little dots from the brush marks. So this is very, very subtle. You can just see, I'll pull it up to the camera in a moment, but you can just see the very, very pale basic beige ink picking up on the and adhering to the lines and the marks from the embossing folder. Just a little bit more. Oopsie. Okay, that is plenty. Where's a piece of white just so you can see the difference. So it's just given it a little bit more interest. Okay, so now that is going to go over the top of my mat, but I'm going to flip it over, take all of my dimensionals and then flip that over because I know this mat is 1/2 centimetre, so it ends up being 1/4 centimetre around each side smaller than my main card mat. Now, because I've embossed the top mat, it actually brings that in slightly smaller again. So that's it so far. So now what I want to do is I want to make like a porthole or a frame for here. So I'm going to take my 2 larger dies and I'm going to die cut a piece of basic beige, keeping all the colours nice and beachy, and make my circle frame. All right, so this is my circle frame that I've made. just by putting the two dies together. That we will save for another day. And now I want to put a little bit of glue around the edge and adhere that onto my card front. Now when you're using a Tombow glue, depending on how hard you squeeze the bottle as to how much glue comes out. It is a great glue. It gives you time to move or slide your piece of work around so you get it in just the right spot. And I'm just going to put something of weight on there so that it holds it in place. Good old punch. So I'm also going to do the die cutting of our shells. This is a gorgeous die set in the same Rolling Waves bundle, and I'm going to use the Shimmery Stripes paper. My shells are all die cut, and yep, that's pretty dry now. I'm going to put my shells around the edge of my little circle frame. Right, so I'll flip all my larger shells over, and I will just add some mini dimensionals to those. They'll be what I start with first, and then I'll build around the window opening or the portal opening to add the other pieces. All right, now I'll put a couple more of these pieces on, but I'm going to flat glue those, I think. But I'm also going to put some linen thread around the base to add a nice little bit of texture, and I'll attach that with my Seal Plus. I always like to attach my ribbon to the back first, or ribbon or baker's twine, whatever it is. I'm just going to do a little bit of a twist, and then again attach that at the back, cut the excess off, and then I'm not wasting any thread or any ribbon. And while I'm here, I'm now going to place that onto my card base, and I'm going to do that with my Tombow glue. Again, I really like to use Tombow glue because you get a little bit of time to slide your work around. Just hold that in place for a moment. Now, while that's adhering nicely, I'm going to put that same punch over the top to hold it down. I'm now going to stamp my greeting, which is the happy birthday. Again, still in our same Rolling Waves stamp set, and I'm stamping that in the basic beige ink also. It's very, very fine, very, very light colour, but it's just beautiful. And I'm just going to trim that off. And here's my nice little basic greeting. So simple, simple, happy birthday. Pop a couple of the larger dimensionals on the back of that. Pokey tool. Take my pick tool would have made that so much easier if I'd actually used it. And then I'm going to just place that where I've got my linen thread. Okay, so that's nicely in place. I'm also going to add some more of the little shell pieces, and I'm going to use glue dots because that will give it a little bit of dimension, but not quite as much as the dimensionals. Now, when I use glue dots, I use my pokey tool to pick them up. I don't roll the glue dot around, but then I use it's not a pokey tool, take my pick tool to actually maneuver it and to fold it over itself, so that actually gives it a little bit of dimension. Just placing that in down the base. So you can see, just folding that the glue dot over, putting it on my work, and then I'm just placing it in and underneath. I need a couple more. Glue dots are great. You can't see them, and you can use them flat so that they are just a flat adhesive, or give them a little bit of dimension by rolling them on top of each other or over themselves. And I'm going to pop a couple of these down here as well. So it just gives that little bit more dimension than keeping them as a flat product. Where am I going to pop that one? Yep, I'll just pop that one there. But that is now moving my greeting. So that has gone crooked. I think I might need to pop another little dimensional underneath the greeting. So I will slide one, if I can get it, underneath there. That's much better. Yep, I'll put some nice antique pearls around because they bring in the same tone as the basic beige. I'm just going to pop in 3. I always like to use an odd number. Usually I use 3, sometimes 5, but usually just the 3. And now I'm going to complete it with an insert and envelope. My insert and envelope, I'm just going to use again the basic beige. I always like to, wrong way round, always like to dress up my envelope. And so can barely see little stamps on the back and on the front, and then on the inside of the writing piece, and then that will simply get adhered to the inside of the card. Just one little row of Seal Plus, and that's going into the card. So this is just a lovely little neutral toned card, nice and easy, simple design, but really quite pretty, suitable for male or female, and of course with a little bit of bling. So I hope you've enjoyed watching how I've put this card together, which, as I said, is card number 3 of my 1 bundle 4 ways. Just to recap, this was card number 1. And this one is card number 2. So 3 totally different design layouts. This was your alcohol ink. This was a little bit of clear embossing to show the water feature. And then today is the portal with a bit of blending brush on our embossing folder. I hope this has inspired you to perhaps purchase this set or create these types of cards using a set that you've already got in your craft stash. Stay tuned for next week's card, which will be our final one in this series using the rolling waves. Thanks very much for watching.